Hi, welcome to Hospitality Live with Rupesh. Each week, we feature an industry leader that will share the latest trends and the best strategies to help you grow. Now, welcome your host, Rupesh Patel.
Sammy's in the house. What's up, buddy? How you doing? Good? Guys, comment, let me know where you're watching from, guys. This is episode 103. All right, Sammy, got to get going. Sammy's getting big. It's getting huge. Guys, comment, let us know where you're watching from. Super excited about this episode. Now, are you ready for your 2022 budget for your hotel? And a lot of folks are like, oh my God, really? Yes, this is the time. It's budget season, and you got to be ready. And so I am super excited to talk about this conversation. Guys, comment and let us know where you're watching from. I'm going to pull you up in your location on the screen right now. So, all right, we have Buck in the house. Hey, good morning. We got Orlando in the house, North Carolina, Tampa, Maryland in the house. You know, this topic is kind of scary for a lot of folks, including myself. And, you know, we've had to keep ourselves going while we're, trying to grow ourselves. And so, yes, this is an opportunity for all of us to grow. This is episode number 103. We're talking about 6 wins for your hotel accounting. And this is your entire team, not just the department, the entire team. We got Ocean Ridge in the house. Brazil's in the house. I love it. Oklahoma in the house. Maryland in the house. Tampa. Good morning to all of you. Guys, comment. Let us know where you're watching from. Got Canada in the house. Jersey in the house. And I got to say, Jersey, they actually have better bagels than New York, and I'm probably going to get shot for that, but they actually do. I went to high school in Jersey, so I know. 2 years, 9th and 10th grade, and we have some really good bagels, and I'd probably fight you over that comment right there. All right, so we got DC in the house, Toronto in the house, Arkansas in the house, Philly is in the house. Laura, let us know if Philly has better bagels than Jersey. Got Texas in the house. Guys, good morning to everybody. So if you're planning your 2022 budget, this episode is for you. Katie's going to help us ease the pain and help us all understand our numbers. You're going to learn how to actually use proper software if you're not using it and what the process is. Plus, you're going to get free accounting, a cheat sheet that you can download and learn what it takes to keep it going. Guys, we also have Sarah in the house with the Hospitality Minute. Can't wait to have her on, find out what's new. And by the way, today, this is just exclusively for you guys. I'm going to be at the lodging conference, which we just signed that deal yesterday. So I'm super excited. This is my first time going to the lodging conference in Phoenix, Arizona. So that is at the end of September, which is September 27th. And I think the conference runs to the 30th. Super excited about that. We're going to meet a lot of amazing hotel owners, operators, and the brands. And I think there's already 1,600 people signed up for this beautiful convention, which is really intimate, and it's at the JW. So I'm super excited about just connecting with a lot of amazing people. So shout out to Lodging Conference. Shout out to Harry and the entire team over there. Brent, thank you so much for having me on. I can't wait to be there. Guys, this episode is definitely brought to you by Smart Guests. And you guys know the deal. Somebody put that in the comments right now. Let me see if I can put that in the comments and let you know that Smart Guest is the sponsor of this episode. Let me see if I can pull the banner up. Guys, if you want to increase your revenues and boost your service scores, which we all do right now, so many people call me, contact me, email me, direct message saying, hey, listen, our scores are in the dumps, and I understand. And there are a lot of reasons why, and we're not blaming one reason. There's a lot of reasons why, but as we continue to grow, as we see occupancy continue to grow for us, we need tools, we need support. And so smartguests.com has over 50 tools to help you with that. Exactly. Improve your scores. So if you want to improve your operations, marketing, reviews, all of those things, over 4,600 hotels right now currently are clients of smartguests.com nationwide with high quality print process and a fast free shipping right to you. SmartGuest can help you with everything you need. create a free account at smartguests.com. Somebody put the Smart Guests URL so we can all click on it in the comments. Thank you so much to Smart Guests for sponsoring this episode. All right, so every week I have a mindset, and this week's mindset is no different. We're all growing, and here's my mindset. This is me actually spreading the good word about hospitality. And we all have to do our share of saying, listen, this is an industry that is viable for someone that's driven, caring, passionate, and ready to keep going. Because, there's a lot of times where, you get shut down or you feel, bad about a situation that you might be in. And there's a lot of new people. So I feel like it's our job to continue growing and letting folks know that there is a career for you if you're willing to be that person that is driven, right? Resilient. And here are my career tips for folks that are coming in. And welcome to all the new people that are joining the industry. We've had thousands and thousands of people join in the last few months. And guess what? More people are going to join as we all continue to grow. And the first one is learn from industry veterans. There's a lot of people that have been in the industry for a long time. Connect with them, right? That's part of you growing and learning. Discover new parts of the industry. You have to, right? Discover new parts of the industry where you may not be passionate about one thing that you maybe got exposed to, but learn different parts. The third thing is connect with as many people as you possibly can, because that is your connection to something else. And listen, this industry, and I talk about this all the time, it is very small. You think that there's millions of people working in the industry. Listen, people know each other. And I guarantee you, Sarah could approve this, that we all know each other by like at least one person. And so burning a bridge is not for me. And I'm sure it's not for you too. So connect as many people, and then ask for help. There's a lot of people willing to help. You just have to ask for it. You have to get out of your comfort zone and ask for it, and then be positive and have an open mind. So that is my mindset this week as we all continue to grow. And, for Florida, we're the highest case right now as far as infection rates. And, they're like, well, should I work at a hotel? Should I wait? There's never been a better time to join the industry. You're going to continue learning and you'll have a lot of opportunity. There's so many opportunities right now for you to grow. And there's so many amazing people hiring, amazing people that are driven, like we talked about, and willing to learn. So that is my mindset this week. We have Sarah here with the Hospitality Minute. Hey, Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah Dandashy from Ask a Concierge. Every week, I'll be sharing the latest hospitality and travel news and updates in a segment we like to call Hospitality Minutes.
What's up, Sarah?
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Doing well. Oh my gosh, so excited to be here.
Listen, Sarah is going to like 50 places in the next 10 days. And I'm super excited to at least have you on for 5 minutes, because I know as soon as we finish, you are jetting off to the airport, going to where?
I'm going to Nashville. So I'm going to be in Nashville for a couple days. I'm going to be working with the Gaylord Opryland property. If you're familiar with it, it's massive. So we'll be there for a couple days, back to just basically unpack and repack. And then I'm going to Alaska with Uncruise. So I'm going to be basically MIA. By the way, get this. The part about the cruise that I'm the most nervous about is that I'm not going to have reception for 7 days. Is that weird?
And I hear cruise internet costs $10,000 a day.
well, yes. And sometimes it can be expensive, on the bigger cruise ships, but this is a super small ship. And it's literally 50 passengers or less. And it's one of those ships that we're going out there, we're kayaking with whales and hiking. It's going to be super rugged, but amazing. But I'm can a girl get a bar reception around here? That's going to be me. I
don't know how you're going to survive without internet, because you are the queen of social media. So
yeah,
I don't know how it's going to work, but I want to know what's happening. And be safe, have fun. And you ready for the Hospitality Minute?
I am. You guys ready?
Here we go.
Okay, cool. Perfect. So lots of interesting things happening out there. A new study actually projects that Labor Day travel is going to exceed 4th of July numbers, and Labor Day is right around the weekend. So this new study that was published by The Vacationer expects that this Labor Day weekend is going to have the highest rates of travel for the year so far, exceeding the 4th of July weekend, which By the way, the 4th of July weekend saw 7.9 million flyers. Now, at that point, really from the 4th of July on until like the beginning, middle-ish of August, the TSA was actually recording more than 2 million passengers a day. It was only August 10th that they finally noticed a downtick, maybe saying that there is a bit of a plateau in flying. A lot of this makes sense. We do have a lot of kids going back to school. But maybe work is changing a little bit. Obviously, the news with the Delta variant as well too has people maybe taking a little bit of a pause. But it's so with going back to the survey, the vacationer actually suggests that 137 million Americans will travel over the Labor Day holiday. 37% plan to travel by car, and only 12% plan to travel by plane. So we'll see. Hopefully we can get that last little bit of traffic before we kind of get into the fall months. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. All right, moving on. Jamaica. Okay, this is kind of cool. Jamaica has actually recorded their 1 millionth post reopening visitor. I don't know how they kept did they have a ticker? I don't know how they kept track of that, but that's kind of awesome. So this was 1 million their 1 millionth visitor since reopening the country June 15th, 2020. So it's been quite a little, obviously over a year. But why they are so excited about this and why is this making news is that actually this is the fastest that Jamaica has ever received 1 million visitors, starting from 0 arrivals. So they're excited because they're already seeing this sort of sign of recovery within tourism as well too. So they're positively looking forward. They're also 2023 numbers are projected to reach 3.7 million visitors, with a 2024 forecast to surpass 2019 numbers at 4.2 million. So again, it's just nice to hear some exciting positive news around the world. All right. And then our final topic here, which I was kind of hinting at. So 2021, the U.S. hotel forecast improves despite the surge going on out there, as well as room rates are still rising. So STR and Tourism Economics recently upgraded their U.S. hotel forecast for 2021, and they are basically projecting that things will be a little bit busier. Now for 2022, and this is important for today's discussion for you to think about and consider, they are lessening their growth projections for 2022, as we're kind of seeing that business travel remains down and unlikely to kind of continue the forward momentum that we've seen from this huge summer leisure rush. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. The STR and Tourism Economics, they do continue. They anticipate a full recovery in demand by 2023 and expect RevPAR to surpass 2019 levels at some point in 2024. I mean, right now we're seeing, I'm sure you can all agree with this, recovery is uneven as we're seeing leisure-driven markets super ahead of where they're supposed to be, and other markets still kind of struggling. Also, staffing challenges as well too, in different markets around the country and honestly the world as well too. But they are looking optimistic kind of in the future. So that is it for today's Hospitality Minute. This has been fun.
I was gonna not. I was
gonna be like, I'm just gonna let you just be right here, right?
I was gonna be like, where are you? No, Sarah. I hope you have a great trips, and be safe out there. Share some pictures, at least one or two. Maybe you can like hold your phone up really high and catch some internet access.
Yeah. I think I'll be able to get like a couple bars. I'll definitely be all over. You will see everything while I'm in Nashville. So definitely check that out. I'll even be doing an Instagram live takeover for the Gaylord Opryland. So if you follow them as well too, I'll be there. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then Alaska, you'll see. Trust me, if there is Wi-Fi or bars, I will be there finding it and posting what I can.
Well, listen, Nashville has plenty of bars to drink. Ashley. You don't have. I know. I know what you mean. Sarah, where can people find you?
You guys can find me everywhere online at Ask a Concierge, or connect with me on LinkedIn via my name, Sarah Dandashy.
Sarah has a huge following on Instagram, over 125,000 followers with a verified check mark. You have to connect with her there. And when you're on Instagram, please connect with me too. I only have like 5 people following me.
No, you have more than that. But yeah, no. And by the way, I love all the stuff that you post on Instagram. So, bring the party over there, guys.
I don't know if I like it or not. I'm just kidding. Sarah, it's always a pleasure having you on. Please be safe, travel safe, have a great flight. And I will hopefully talk to you next week, if not the week after.
We'll talk soon.
All right. Well, see ya.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Sarah's awesome. Please give her a follow. She's on every single platform, including, and by the way, I didn't mention, I was on her show last week, which that post goes live today, where we talk about my background and how I got into the industry. And I share all of those things on Say Yes to Travel with Sarah Dandashy. So I'm going to be posting more about that today on my LinkedIn. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much, Sarah, for being on. All right. So this episode, which is 103, which I still can't believe we're at 103rd. We've been doing this 103 weeks in a row. We're talking about a hotel accounting where budget season's coming up, or if it's already not here, it's coming up like within weeks. And it's time for us to think about our budget for next year and think about accounting for hotels. And so we're talking about 6 quick wins with your hotel accounting. And I'm just going to bring her up, and then, you know what? Let me talk about her background real quick. Katie and Buck Paolino own Hotel Solutions. It's a hotel, or it's a company that supports hotels, outsource accounting. They do training, they do courses, speaking, a lot of different things. Their vision is to change and cultivate strong leaders when we're talking about financial leadership and communication. So super excited to talk to her and learn about like what the process is. And then, she is amazing. She was the 2020 certified hospitality accountant of the year by HFTP, which is super exciting. Can't wait to learn more about that. And she's going to be at High Tech, which she's involved and she's speaking at. So please help me introduce Katie Paolino. Hey, Katie.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you so much for having me. This is my first time to do any kind of live on social media, so I'm super excited and grateful.
Are you nervous?
Yes. I'm not nervous. I'm excited. That's
well, listen, you already do a great job posting all these amazing tips and strategies for hotels to learn from. And so I was like, you'd be the perfect candidate to bring on and learn, accounting and what we're doing wrong and what we're doing right. And I love that, you just share a lot of different insights. And so my first question to you is, why are so many hotel people afraid of hotel accounting?
Because they are not experienced in it, because they don't look at it. And so many people, everyone is afraid of hotel accounting and accounting in general, but hotels specifically are a little different. There's industry standards. They're a little more complex, but it doesn't have to be scary. If you just rip the Band-Aid off, it's not scary. You said you're going to learn everything you're doing wrong in accounting. The only thing you could be doing wrong is not looking at it.
Yeah. Yeah. And tell us about your background. How did you get this started? How did you start Hotel Solutions with your husband, Buck? Shout out to Buck. He's watching, he's listening.
Yeah. So my mom started Global Hotel Solutions over a decade ago, and Buck and I partnered with her and kind of grew the business. And then 2 years ago, she wanted to retire, and Buck and I bought it from her completely. So kind of crazy. In the first year of owning it on our own, there was a global pandemic, and we had 2 babies under the age of 1 year old, not twins.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah. So they're right there.
Oh, so cute.
Thanks. So it has been quite an adventure, especially to be in the hotel industry at this time, but it's exciting. It's fun. We're learning so much. Our team is amazing. So we serve hotels through outsourced accounting, which you mentioned, and training products.
Yeah. And, we want to talk about hotel accounting because it's so important, especially right now where people are getting ready for budgets for the next year. You're like, well, last year I didn't know where my budget was going to be for 21. And then all of a sudden we picked up on occupancy and revenue started picking up, or no, we're still flat from where we were last year. And there's there's a slight increase or decrease, which, is scary. And so you don't know what to predict for next year. So we're going to talk more about that. You have a lot of super fans out there saying hello, guys. Say hi to Katie, as you have a lot of fans out here watching live. I'm excited about that. But let's get into the whole hotel accounting. Where do people get started if you're a brand new GM and you really haven't worked with the numbers? Because there are folks that they leave their entire accounting to a department outside of their hotel, which is understandable. True. There's no right and wrong way of doing hotel accounting as long as the entire team is aligned. And that's what I feel like, maybe our hotel GMs are doing the operational side, where maybe the financial side is, they have some key numbers, but they're not in it every single day, just crunching numbers and like stressed out about like, are we going to hit our budget? But are we are we aligned with what the ownership or the management company wants us to do overall as far as the success of the hotel? So let's get started with like the right software. And maybe even before that, if a GM is brand new to the property and they've never done a budget themselves, or they've never got into the hotel accounting, should they be scared?
No, they shouldn't be scared. Nobody should be scared. It is not as hard as you think. The thing is, Rupesh, that hoteliers aren't getting a return on investment for their accounting. And so they just don't value it as much. In hotels, salespeople are the rainmakers, right? They're bringing in the sales. GMs are forward facing with the guests. They're leading the team. They're bringing the guests back in the hotel. Housekeepers are keeping the hotel clean and spotless. And review after review talks about how clean the hotel is and brings people back. So I think for all of those different positions, there's kind of an obvious value, which is understandable. There is an obvious value, but with accounting, the accountants in the back office, there aren't reviews left about the accountants. And so there isn't such an obvious value to that position. And they aren't necessarily as integrated with the team. And so there isn't that level of communication that's getting everybody involved. It's kind of disconnected. But hoteliers can get a return on investment for their accounting, and the team can all be involved. And when that happens, that brings so much peace and value to the accountants, empowerment to the GMs. There's just so much available when people aren't scared of the numbers and they do just take the time to get a little familiar with them. So today we're going to go over 6 quick wins, which you already mentioned. And I also want to mention that I created a guide for all of these so that we'll walk you through all the topics we're going to talk about, all quick wins, and you can download that I think you have the link, and then Buck, who's watching, is going to put it in the chat. So download that. Don't feel like you have to take notes or anything.
Yeah, just listen in. Just listen in to what Katie says. And, we're going to get started with the software, because I feel like there's different hotel companies using different software, and it's really based on what?
Yes. So it's based on your hotel. And the first thing that you need to remember is that your outputs are only as good as your inputs. So if you want financial statements that are useful and going to be helpful and actually make an impact on your team and your bottom line, you have to have the inputs in place to make that possible. So in hotels, there's your POS. So that's the system that's outside of the front desk. So your restaurant or spa. There's your PMS, so like Opera or Fosse or OnQ. So that's your front desk software where reservations are held. And then all of that data has to flow into your back of the house software. So that's already 3 softwares that you have to have. And that's like the minimum requirement to operate a hotel. Those have to be in place, but they aren't necessarily set up correctly. And then if you actually want to get a return on investment for your accounting, you have to use a hotel specific accounting software. So not QuickBooks, basically, is what I'm saying, which is what people come to us with a lot.
Yeah, sure. And let's say for folks that are, that are smaller, that are using QuickBooks, and I know quite a few people that use QuickBooks. We use QuickBooks ourselves for a few properties, and then we also use like M3, and there's other brands. I don't know if you're connected to any brands that you would kind of recommend, but what software do you use for some of your partners or your clients?
Yeah, so I know that it can seem overwhelming to smaller properties to dive in to hotel specific software. So we just want to go over some benefits. And if that resonates with you, then it might be something you'd want to consider. So a hotel specific software is going to be built around the USALI chart of accounts. So the Uniform System of Accounts for the lodging industry. And those standards really are going to be required by a lot of banks. So a lot of your lenders are going to ask for USALI financials. And then if you ever want to sell your hotel, brokers are going to require that. So they're going to want to be able to see, like, to be able to evaluate your operations based on hotel standards. So in your hotel accounting software, there's going to be a daily report. So that POS and PMS information that we talked about, that's going to get to your back office software through a daily report. And that's going to show you hotel specific analytics like average daily rate and rooms sold, which is going to be helpful to you to have all of your revenue like in one convenient snapshot that you can view.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have your bank reconciliation module that feeds from that daily report. And then the financial statements are also going to be set up under USALI standards. So your income statement, you're going to be able to follow along department by department. And not only is that going to make it more useful to you, but also be in standards that the bank is going to be happy with, that brokers are going to be happy with, that sort of thing.
So I grabbed my book that it's maybe a little bit older copy, but a lot of the standards are there. Grab this book if you're trying to learn anything about hotel accounting, and make sure that you're in line with categories and you're coding the right way. And yeah, when you're trying to sell a hotel and if it's not lined up with what the standard is, you're going to be scrambling to get the uniform or the proper reporting out to where another hotelier is looking at this as a purchase, or even yourself if you're trying to sell your hotel or you're trying to buy a hotel. I think it's a thing that you need to align yourself with the standard of our industry.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about now hiring the right accountant, because I know there's a lot of accountants out there, and specifically some do accounting, but they don't understand hotels at all. And hotels are a different animal compared to maybe like your other small business,
Yes, totally. I do want to back up just a second because I didn't answer one of your questions. You asked if there's a specific software that we use, and there is, so I don't want to leave your audience hanging on that. So we use hotel specific software, M3 specifically.
Okay. Yep.
And so that is, yeah, so shout out to M3. They're awesome. They're going to have all of those features that we mentioned, and just super easy to use. So I know there are others out there, but I kind of get in the weeds when I'm researching tech stuff or software. So I prefer someone to just tell me like, hey, this is what I suggest. This is best. Go forward. So we use M3. That's what I suggest.
Yeah, and I know a lot of folks, including our partners that we have investments with, that use M3, and their GMs are involved and they're scanning stuff and they're coding stuff without even doing like the major headache of like, oh, we need to be in the same office at the same time to figure out what our accounting looks like, where everything's like virtual. And now the technology with, connectivity, I mean, it makes life a lot easier. And M3 is definitely a software that a lot of folks use. So take a look at M3. But there's also a lot of other software that, folks use too, which, as long as you're looking at the numbers every single day, they're connected, you're doing the right job as far as making sure that your numbers are aligned. That's where you want to be. It's not like you're just writing stuff down in like an Excel and saying, all right, what's our budget this week? Or what does revenue this week look like? Or, are we overspending in payroll or whatever the case is? So thank you for that. All right. So we talked about software. Now we're talking about finding the right accountant, because I'm sure a lot of hotel GMs have to talk to an accountant or a bookkeeper once in a while to find out, like, why did you spend this? Or why did you code it this way? Why is finding the right accountant so important for hotels?
It's critical. It really takes you from just accounting kind of as a cost and maybe even a nuisance to actually being an opportunity to bring the team together. I think that accountants are probably doing their best with what they have to produce the financial statements, but they might not be adding that extra layer of communication and leadership for the team that actually makes it useful, helps the team come together. And to be fair to accountants, which I am one, we we aren't really taught that in school. Like all the way through my master's accounting classes, the focus is just on the tasks it takes to complete the financial statements, the reconciliations, the actual tasks, and not how to communicate that value. So it's like we get all the way up, we do all this work, which is a lot of work, and get you all the way up to the line of being able to add massive value to the organization, and then not taught how to like push it over the edge and add that value. So what you really need is an accountant that has the heart of a teacher, that is willing to communicate and explain and engage, someone who's empathetic to the general managers and all that they have going on, and is willing to meet them where they are and add that value.
Okay. So also with accountants, it's like how often should we be connected with them, or how often do we need to be reporting to them, or how often do they come to your property, or how often does that happen? Like where do you see, like, I know you work with a lot of hotels, how often is that accountant connected to the ownership or the general manager as far as communication?
So we're remote. So our office sometimes does visit the properties, sometimes never. So we're remote, but the communication is constant. The relationship is there. The weekly communication on accounts payable and what needs to be paid. And we work mostly with smaller management companies and owners directly. And so they're very involved, and we're communicating with them regularly. So the first step to getting an accountant that actually does have the heart of a teacher is to write it into the job description. Like most companies, they don't even know they can expect that from an accountant. They don't know that it's possible to have communication and leadership in an accountant, but it is. So write it into the job description, and you'll attract those people that want to play that role for you. And also, so you mentioned that people outsource sometimes to people outside of their company, and that's what I have as an outsourced company. So we're a partner with hoteliers outside of their company. And I just want you to know, I want everyone to know, you can interview your outsourced partners as if you're hiring them to be on your team. Like, ask them the questions, ask them about their values, ask them about their hiring practices, ask them about their training. When people come to me and ask about our services, they ask about price first, which is valid, but it's not the be all end all. But they rarely ever ask deeper questions that I know they would be asking if they were hiring an accountant. And that's what they're doing. If they hire us to be their accountant, they need to know that we're a good fit and that they can trust us to move forward with their numbers.
Yeah. I think it's kind of like hiring a staff member, a team member for your hotel, right? You have to know that you guys are going to work well together. This person is open to, because you're sharing a lot of you're sharing a lot of secure information with this people or this group. And if you don't feel comfortable with them, I mean, they could really make your life difficult, especially if you're doing a transaction, especially if you're trying to create a budget, especially if you're trying to do many things that have to do with money, which is almost everything in a hotel. And it can make your life difficult, especially then transitioning from one person to another. It's a pain to move from one accountant to another and trying to figure out like processes and all that stuff. So starting with that right accountant definitely makes sense. Any other last tips for that?
Yeah, I mean, Horst Schultz, who you had on your show the other day, which was amazing, he says that the number one aspect of customer service is a defect-free product. So when we talk about customer service and having the heart of a teacher and all of that, you still have to offer excellent accounting. Like, you have to know the numbers. And so like when we hire, we give an accounting quiz, we give an intellect test. We put people through the ringer to make sure they can offer a defect-free product. But then that's like the minimum requirement. Like, you still have to be able to communicate and have leadership. And so I think that's the part. I think people realize the defect-free product is important, and don't go that step further to say like, hey, they can be like integrated into our team and really offer leadership.
Right. So that's number 2, hire the right accountant. Now, number 3 is empower the team with training. Now, what does that mean? Because, I don't want my team to know how much money we're making or how much money's going out or all that stuff. Like, do they actually need to know, or can they help me ease some of my pain when we're talking about, I have like 1,000 things to do this week, and maybe my team can help me with the accounting side of some part of it, right? What do you mean by empower them with training?
Yeah, so I don't mean, okay, so 2 things. I don't mean that everyone on the team needs to know how to do accounting. Like, everybody doesn't need to do a bank rec. The accountants can handle that. But I do mean that everybody needs to understand how to read the financial statements. The general managers need to be familiar with the income statement and what that looks like. And they need to be familiar with how their actions end up on the income statement, how their actions impact the bottom line. Because when they understand that, then you're able to take actions to change that, to improve the bottom line. The second thing is that you mentioned your team, but I would also, and as far as empowering the team with training, I would include you on the team. So the owner needs to understand the numbers as well. And even if you feel like you're not interested in it, you're going to sleep better at night knowing how your hotel is actually doing. If you don't look at it, if you're scared of it, if you're not interested, you're going to have that uncertainty of how are we actually doing? What is our bottom line? And you don't need that.
Yeah. I think getting at least, well, definitely getting the owner, like that's why you're in business, to make money, right? That's why you've kind of put all your eggs into this basket to make sure that you are performing. And I think if you're not looking at the numbers, it is definitely an opportunity for you to pick up and really learn something. Now, can anybody in the team, as far as maybe an assistant general manager or a supervisor, help you with the accounting side of things? Like, what can people that are with us, maybe they want to have some extra tasks, or maybe you want to empower them to do things. Like, what can we do to give somebody on our team as an owner or general manager some more opportunities for them to learn? Because I think when they learn something, they're like, oh, this makes sense. This is why we are spending this much money on this, or this is why we're not buying these items because of a certain reason, right? What kind of people should be involved in the accounting process or learning process?
Yes, so many people on the team can be involved. So definitely the general managers, and definitely assistant general managers, front office managers. Sometimes night auditors are in the accounting system, entering the daily report or helping with accounts payable. Especially now, it's kind of like an all hands on deck situation with staffing right now. And that's great. The more people that you can empower to understand it, the better. Just make sure if they are playing a part that they do understand it. So, you don't want people entering stuff in your accounting system that you haven't empowered with training. So, and that can be, so we put out weekly video tips and we have some trainings. There are consultants that you can hire to train your team. But honestly, like, if you have anyone in your organization right now that has a good feel for the financial statements, empower them to do a training. We use Loom. So this past year, we've started doing Loom videos. Have you used them?
I haven't.
Okay.
So share
what?
Please share what Loom is.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a screen recording software. It is free. So you can install it, and then you just do the task that you were already going to do, except press record before you start. And then as you do it, you say out loud what you're doing. And then it just gives you a link to that video, and you can put it in your training document. If your accountant has end of month checklists, you can put links to all the different little videos showing them how to do it.
Mhm.
We've started using it for our company SOPs, and it's amazing. For years, I struggled with SOPs. I mean, documenting everything and accounting, every client's different, every bank account's different. Like all these different situations can come up that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
And so having like a written out process that that is helpful in every situation is just very overwhelming. So
Sure.
for any company, this isn't accounting specific. You can do your SOPs with little Loom videos. So just for every little task, you're doing the task anyways, just record it and save that link. And then not only, so, I mean, obviously turnover happens. And so if you have all these little videos and then all of a sudden you're needing to look for a new accountant, which, you mentioned
Yeah.
is really painful and overwhelming. If you have all those videos that the last accountant has recorded and the new person can just jump in and be like, oh, okay, this is how they do their check run. Okay, this is what they look at on their aging report. Okay, this is the balance sheet that they use. This is the login for the tax website. Like just every little thing. It makes it so much easier. And that's true for SOPs. It's helpful with turnover. It's also helpful if somebody gets sick. Like that's happening a lot this year too. When somebody gets sick and they're out, someone else on the team can jump in and help them.
Yeah.
Or so your team can take a vacation. Yeah, those are really helpful. That's my biggest tip for that one.
That is awesome. So, I was also thinking like, when you're hiring somebody new for the front desk and they don't know how to do this one thing you taught them really quickly, like whatever it is, coding something where it's a third party, you can use Loom to show one specific thing. That, let's say every person that you've hired in the last 6 months has the same question. Guess what? That means it's an opportunity for you to say, go to this link. Here's like 5 links that are the most frequently asked questions for the front desk or for whatever reason, right? I love that opportunity where you can do that and it's like a quick link to something. So thank you so much for that tip. By the way, I would love to learn, for the folks that are watching, are you doing any accounting at your hotel? And what software do you use? I know a lot of people said they do use M3. And it is okay if you use QuickBooks. It's okay if you use some other software. We're okay. We're just all here to learn what systems you use, so then we can understand, like, all right, moving forward, if we ever, when Katie comes back on the show, that we can talk about these different ways of using these strategies and be using it to make an opportunity for yourself to continue learning. All right, so that's number 3. Number 4, and before we're halfway through, now let Katie know that she's doing an amazing job, because this is her first ever live that she's doing. And I can see that you feel nervous, but you're doing an amazing job. So I know you're doing an amazing job. You've offered so many great tips, and guys, we would love for you to comment and let Katie know and support her that you're doing an awesome job. So let's hit number 4. Set up a practical budget and coding cheat sheet. Now, the coding cheat sheet, you have to build that based on what software you're using. But what does that mean when you're talking about creating a practical budget?
Yes. Okay. The coding cheat sheet, it doesn't matter what software you're using. It's so simple. So the budget area, that's kind of what people want to talk about, because they want like the magic bullet, like, oh, maybe this is the talk where they're going to like give me the answer, the magic bullet that's going to make it so easy. And one, you do have to go through the process. But some mistakes that I see people make is like they get so overwhelmed that they just don't do it. They just don't budget. Yeah. And that's not the answer. There's a simple way. The important thing is to start somewhere, like to make some sort of action. So if you're in the boat of you don't budget, then start somewhere. Take your 2019 numbers. Obviously, don't take 2020 numbers. That's garbage. But take your 2019 actual numbers. So if you don't know how to do that, you can run a trailing 12 income statement in your accounting system, export it to Excel, use that as your starting place. The important thing is to get the conversation started. When the owners, the management company, the CFO, whoever has that conversation with the general managers and just starts the dialogue, you're probably going to get a lot more out of the conversation than you realize, even if you think you don't know anything. If you just go line by line, the general managers know. They know. They know what costs are going up. They know the trends to look for. And you might not be able to perfectly guess well, you're not going to be able to perfectly guess any of it, but you do know more than you think. And the point is to get the conversation started and don't just avoid it because it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Start somewhere.
Okay. And then coding with a cheat sheet, what does that mean?
Okay. So yes, the second problem that people are making is that they have this like elaborate built out budget spreadsheet, like with really intense formulas that are immaculate and beautiful. And I love it. I'm here for it. But they get it in their system, their accounting system, and then they don't look at it throughout the year. Like they don't actually see whether they're on track. Like the big goal is to get the budget done.
Yeah.
But then they don't have the monthly conversations. And one of the reasons for that is because the people who are coding the invoices, like maybe you do have people at your hotel helping code the invoices. Maybe you have an assistant general manager or a front desk manager actually coding invoices, and they've never seen the budget. No one's ever told them where they're supposed to code this stuff. And so the coding's all over the place. And if you don't have an income statement where you can see like, here's what we actually spent, here's the budget, here's the difference, how are we doing? Like something to easily look at to start the conversations monthly, you're not going to, it's not going to be a value. So what we found is really helpful is to take your budget spreadsheet, as simple or complicated as it is, and add a couple extra columns at the end for notes of like, what's the regular vendors? What are some sample vendors that we expect to see in these line items? Make sure your account numbers are on that spreadsheet. They probably already are. And then what are some notes of like the kind of items that go here? Like if, it could be all kinds of things. People code the elevator invoice. Is it coded to maintenance contracts, or is it coded to professional fees? Or, we've seen portfolios of, several hotels, and they're all coding. They all have the same contracts, and they're all coding it somewhere different. Yeah. So make notes on your budget spreadsheet. And then you can hide the budget columns if you want, like just to make it a very concise, simple expense coding cheat sheet. So notes, and in the guide, it talks more in depth about how to do this, but it's very simple. You just add notes to your budget, basically. And then make sure that whoever's coding the invoices has access to it, can say like, oh, where does this go? Let me just search this spreadsheet really quick. It's so simple, but a lot of people are not doing it. And then the budget that they slave over isn't even helpful.
Yeah, so look at it often, and that's the number 5 tip is use the same monthly review schedule every single month. So it's not just like September or October where you do your budget and then you don't look at it for next 12 months. Like you're looking at it every single time on the whatever it is, the 1st or the 15th or whatever date you picked. And make sure you look at it. What is that tip? What else can you add to that tip as far as do it on a schedule, but make sure it's at the same time too. Why is that so important?
So you do it. So if you don't schedule it, you're not going to do it. And that's what's happening to most people is, I think we all kind of know somewhere in our head, like, hey, looking at the financial statements, if you're running a business, that's a good idea. Like that's probably important. But if you're going to wait until you feel like it, you're not going to do it. Or you're going to wait till you feel like, oh, my team's busy. I'm going to wait till they're not so busy so we can have that review call. Is not going to happen. Yeah. So scheduling, and it doesn't matter what day. That's not the point. The point is that you do it regularly every month for whenever works for your team. So schedule a recurring Zoom meeting now that goes out to the GMs that y'all have dedicated that time to have the conversation. Even if you don't know what conversation to have, like get on the Zoom call open up the income statement and see what comes up. Like, y'all are going to come up with something to talk about. So, you might start with just looking at the variance to the budget and see what pops up. What are the big variances? And then the conversation might evolve to looking at per occupied room costs, or what percentage of revenue was that. They'll evolve over time if you just get started.
Yeah, and I like that. Like other things, like let's say, just an example is you pay your sales tax and it's due by this date every single month, right? And maybe GMs might not be doing it, but I know some GMs that are actually doing that. They're paying the sales tax. They're doing everything for the property. So there's no like external person that comes in and says, here's your budget, and here's they're doing it. They're paying, they're cutting checks, they're doing bill pay, right? They're doing all of those things. And if you're not on a schedule, you're going to be behind. You're going to start getting calls from collectors. You're going to start doing all these things that maybe if you're late by 2 months, that you don't get a vendor that supports you anymore. And then you're now focused on trying to find sheets and towels and all these other things. So I like that you're saying be on a schedule, because it helps. It's like a domino effect. If you're not, then you start like falling behind on a lot of other things. And so for me, I always remind myself through like my phone. So like I say, hey Siri, and then remind me about this one thing. And then it's reoccurring, or the reminders app in your phone will remind you every month at this specific date to do this one thing. So it could be sales tax, it could be franchise bills, it could be whatever it is that you're looking at within your budget, to make sure that you are on schedule. And I like that we talk about that. All right, so the last one, ask the right questions. Now, what does that mean when you're talking about accounting?
Okay. So this one might step on some toes, and I'm sorry, but I say it out of love. You have to hold your accountant accountable. So if you are, whether it's in-house or outsourced, whatever, if you are paying someone to do your accounting and then you never look at it, you can't expect it to be right. My mom always says, you get what you inspect, not what you expect. Mm-hmm. So, and it's true. And I think this one's really important, because hotel owners come to us all the time and their books are just a mess. Like, the bank hasn't been reconciled in ages and they're embarrassed, they're ashamed. Like, it's rough. It's rough on them, because they thought everything was in order. They thought they were well taken care of, but they didn't look at it. It wasn't their thing. They didn't understand the numbers. Yeah. So whereas number 5 was about reviewing the operating statement with the general managers, mm-hmm. This one is about your CFO, or if you're a smaller company, the owner themselves, or the head of the management company, actually asking questions to the accountant to make sure that the balance sheet accounts are reconciled, to make sure that there's the proper work papers, and to get yourself more familiar with your accounts. If you're just looking at the income statement every month, that's only half of the financial picture. So the balance sheet is the whole other half of your financial information, and one can't be right if the other isn't right. So one, the balance sheet is important in and of itself, but also if things are hiding on the balance sheet or not reconciled, then your income statement isn't right either. Right. So reviewing it every month, something that's wrong, isn't going to help you out. So ask questions. And I know this is overwhelming, because the balance sheet is a little more complicated. Like, there are more in-depth accounts that have to be reconciled, but you don't have to know how to reconcile them. You just have to ask, just shoot your accountant questions. And I'll also say, from an accountant's perspective, it's hard to stay on top of those detailed work papers when or at least you feel like, no one ever looks at them. It's hard to keep up detailed work that's never noticed or appreciated. So it's going to help you out as an owner also, if you're asking your accountant questions, because they're going to feel more appreciated. They're going to say, oh, somebody notices, they care. And they're going to feel more like part of the team. So start super simple. Set yourself a calendar reminder. Get your chart of accounts, so the balance sheet chunk that you never look at. And just every month, ask your accountant about one new account. Hey, can I see the bank reconciliation from last month? Hey, can I see the tax calculation from last month? Hey, can you explain this prepaid balance? Hey, can you tell me what's in the accrual account? Just one at a time. And after a while, one, it's going to impact their behavior real quick because they're not going to know what you're going to ask about next or what you're looking at.
Yeah.
And two, over time, you're going to get familiar with your accounts. Like before you know it, hey, you understand how your hotel's working. You understand the financial statements. You could explain them to a potential buyer. You could explain them to the general managers yourself. It happens. You take one step at a time, and then all of a sudden you understand it. It becomes second nature. It's not scary anymore.
Yeah, and here's one thing that we, in the past, I'd be afraid of all this stuff, and I'd be like, oh my God, we're not doing any of this stuff. To get started, go ask another hotel manager, can I just see your budget? Because I don't know where to get started. Or can you help me with the budget? We talked about this as a mindset. Go ask for help. There's plenty of people. If one person can't do it, go ask 10 other people. Guarantee out of those 10, one person is going to be willing to help you and share their budget with you, even though it has nothing to do with your hotel, even though your expenses are totally different. But you get to start seeing what budgets look like. And that's for owner's side and the operator's side. As far as the GM, they're like, maybe you don't get to see the entire financial statement, which I understand, which is okay. But you get to see what you're controlling that you have direct effect on, like payroll. You have direct effect on your breakfast costs. You have a direct effect on your amenities that you're buying, your towels, your linen, all those things that you have direct effect on. These are the things that you want to know what your budget looks like as far as how much can I buy this month or how much can I buy this year? And I think those are opportunities for you to learn, like, oh yeah, we need $5,000 worth of towels and linen and maybe even some case goods, and can we actually afford it based on what what our budget looks like? So these are some of the questions that you can pop up. Katie, this was amazing. I'm glad you could share the 6 easy, quick wins, and they're very easy for folks to get started. And I like that we're sharing it. You can get the free cheat sheet at hotelsolutions.info/accounting wins. I'll leave that up. Now, Katie, where can people find you and your company?
Yeah, so our company website is hotelsolutions.info, and you can check us out there, and you can connect with me here on LinkedIn.
What do you guys do, and what services can people find if they're struggling?
So we are cranking out all kinds of content on hotel accounting, just to help add value, to help people understand that it's not that complicated. So you can find lots of free resources there, but we also do outsourced monthly hotel accounting, and we have training courses to help your team understand hotel accounting.
Awesome. Well, the website is right here, hotelsolutions.info. Thank you so much for coming onto the show. And I know we've wanted you to come on for quite some time. I think this is a perfect time. As people are trying to think about budgets for next year, as people are trying to think of, like, what does it look like for 2022? Guys, take these ideas, take these 6 easy wins and take them back to your hotel and see how you can improve at least one and get started with one, right? And continue growing. And that's how you're going to be successful as a general manager, owner, operator. One day, if you have the vision of buying your own hotel, you're going to have to learn this, right? You're not just because you have a pile of money doesn't mean that you're going to be successful. You knowing the numbers is for you to be successful. Like, what are you going to look at when you're going to purchase a hotel? What are you looking at when you're trying to sell your hotel? And these are the numbers that are going to make sense when you're trying to figure out, is this an opportunity for me and my family as far as a business opportunity? And so that's where Katie and her solution comes in. Thank you so much, Katie. It's a pleasure having you on. I hope guys connect with her on LinkedIn, connect with her at her website, and download the free cheat sheet. Katie, it's always a pleasure. I look forward to connecting with you and seeing your great videos on LinkedIn.
Thanks, Rupesh.
And by the way, you did a great job. No reason to be nervous. You did awesome. I'm looking forward to your next live, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye. That was awesome, guys. 6 quick wins for your hotel. Connect with Katie. Find out how you can improve your financials, right? And that's a big part of when we're looking at, do you understand sales? It's not just sales, but do you understand like what it looks like to run a hotel with the numbers, right? And numbers make a lot of sense right now as we're all growing and getting back to business in our hotels. Guys, thank you so much. I look forward to connecting with you at the lodging conference. If you're a hotel owner, investor, operator, looking to connect with a lot of people, over 1,600 people have joined the lodging conference happening September 27th through the 30th in Phoenix, Arizona. Cannot wait to meet folks and really build a relationship with you guys. And so super excited to have that. We're going to have Harry on September 8th, and September 1st, we have Chip Rogers on. And by the way, next Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, we have the CEO of G6 Hospitality, Rob Paleshki. He's going to be on, and so excited to talk about. He's a hotel owner, operator. He's a leader at G6. So excited to talk about what's happening with his country, or with his company, and really learn and how we can all grow together. Guys, thank you so much. Please connect with me on LinkedIn if you're not already connected, and on Instagram. My Instagram handle is, let's see if I can pull it up. No, I don't have it here. You can pull it up and you can find it at rupesh.co/show. You can also subscribe so you know who's coming on next week. We send out an email to over 7,000 people every week to learn about what's happening and how you can continue growing. Guys, take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you. See you later. Put this banner up. Let me see if I can put the banner up. There it is.